Yeah, so let's talk about the Reddit Luna because some of you are probably a bit curious about that. So this a nice person who actually likes my writing and is on fairly active on Reddit Luna reposted this most attractive over to Reddit Luna because Eve's got in. First time a Luna member's ever gotten to picture status. There she is. She's at number 11. And I really like that picture of Eve's, by the way. Um, and so, that was cool. Very nice of them to do that. And then there's some honourables there for the girls. So here we are. Here's a post. And I don't think it's gotten any more action yet. Um, but so he's posted it up. And he said he was a bit conflicted about posting it. Um, and he mentioned he's a bit upset about Olivia here getting on because she's under 18. I don't know how old she is. I assume she's 17. I don't go through each fucking idol that you sick people vote for and look at exactly how old they are. You guys just vote, and then I just put the list up, and that's it. Um, but anyway, apparently she's underage or whatever. Um, so, but I didn't vote for her. You guys fucking picked her. So anyway, um, and that's what I basically put. They're not my reader picks. You know, they're not my picks. The readers pick them. So if you want to see a different result, why don't you get on board with the survey and vote for different shit, and then you'll get a different result. So here's someone who got a bit upset. I'll probably get downvoted with this, but these kind of lists make me feel uncomfortable. They're contrived. Well, it's not really contrived. It's what you guys voted for, but whatever. I don't like seeing anyone objectified. Um, and I said, well, fair enough, but here's a thought. Why do you think it's called an objectification survey? Why would I call it that? And they're saying, okay, well, are you really subverting anything? And is it okay to have a 17-year-old in a boobs result survey? So there's a few interesting things going on here. Firstly, um, I mean, I wouldn't have voted for Olivia here, because I don't give a fuck about someone that young, but obviously some of you do, and some of you were probably 17 or maybe even younger, and you thought you was attractive or whatever. I don't know. When I was 14 years old, I was attracted to 14-year-old women when I was a 14-year-old guy, so I would suspect that someone who was 17 years old liking Olivia Yee and voting for her in a survey would be a fairly normal sort of thing. Um, but I'd say that that's probably. I mean, maybe there are some kind of older creepy dudes voting for her as well. It's entirely possible. But the thing is, wouldn't if that's the case, wouldn't you rather know that was happening? And that's kind of my point. You know, what am I supposed to do? Just sort of edit her name out? um, if there are people who are being creeps, wouldn't you rather know than not know? I mean, personally, I'd rather know. If people were being a bit creepy about something, I'd want to know about that. And I think that's fair. The other thing is just why am I calling it an objectification survey? Well, I think it's fairly obvious that if you actually read through the content of the objectification survey, you know, um, there's a fair bit of tongue-in-cheek stuff going on. Let's look at this. Um, Almost 900 people chose to cast a vote in this year's survey, a truly amazing effort in mass objectification and depersonalisation of the idols we all love. Um, so, I would hope that people were smart enough to read between the lines here and understand that, is the reason why we're objectifying is because it's not actually us doing the objectification. Um, when I hope you're considering being attracted to a 70-year-old as if they're like six. Yeah, it's a bit silly. When I was 14, I was sick of all the annoying boys in school my age. I decided needed a man. Yeah, I know. I think I told this story before. I know of a girl who, in the place I used to work, who she met like the man of her dreams when she was like, I don't know, 15 years old, 14 years old, something like that. She got married to him on her 16th birthday, because that's like legally the youngest age in where I live in Australia where you can get married. So she married him on her 16th birthday. He was, significantly older. I can't remember exactly how much older, but old enough for for Stan Twitter to be concerned. Put it that way. Um, and and they're still together. And I think they've been together about 25 years now. So, you know, um, so whatever that says about your concerns, I don't know, but um, objectification is a thing. It's a thing across the whole Korean pop industry, and I call this survey the objectification survey because part of my whole mission in writing and talking about these things is to be honest about the fact that these things are going on. You see, someone who's a Luna stan or whatever, who likes, who wants to protect Olivia here or whatever, or will look at something like what I've done and say that's problematic, when literally all I've done is put her name in a list. There's not even any pictures of her. There's just literally she's in a list at number 26. There she is. That's what they're objecting to, is just that bit of text there. So they'll have a problem with that, but what they won't have a problem with is Blockberry very overtly sexualizing the underage girls of Luna, and giving them concepts which are way above their age, um, and and they'll say, "Oh no, it's not sexual." They'll just sort of deny it, pretend it's not happening, but it's fucking sexual. And and if you show those things to anybody who isn't a K-pop fan, who doesn't look at K-pop whatsoever, then they'll look at that and they'll go, "That's sexual." There's definitely some sexual overtones or undertones going on there with some of the shit. The most obvious example would be Cherry's video for Love Cherry Motion, which, if you've seen it, is probably one of the most creepy things I've ever fucking seen. Yeah, in Before Cherry, right? And it's all nice and innocent and blah blah blah. And then she symbolically eats a cherry, and it goes in this sort of whispery, groany sort of fucking pervert thing. Like she's just had a wet dream or something. It's fucking creepy, and it's really quite gross. And it's a hard video to watch. But but Luna fans won't have a problem with that. They'll defend that. But if you point out that there's something wrong about that, then you're the bad guy, and you're sexualizing. But no, I'm not doing any sexualizing. I'm just pointing out the fact that it's going on. So you can all blow me, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't like it. If you can't deal with the fact that that I'm actually pointing these things out. I mean, if anything, I've done probably more to save or help the welfare of young people in this industry than almost anybody, because I publish stuff on my blog which warns people about what the industry is really like. So, I sleep at night fucking fine. Thank you very much. And I don't. And that's why I write about that shit, partly because I see really young people. There's really young people who I know who are into K-pop, and and really talented, and you're practicing dancing, and I want to be, I want to go to auditions and stuff like that, and I'm just like, just be aware of what you're getting into. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying just, it's your choice what you do with your life, but just be aware of stuff. It's an ugly industry in a lot of ways. I mean, we've proven that recently with Burning Sun and stuff like that. And the thing you've got to remember about Burning Sun is that's just one nightclub. And there's plenty of others that are in Korea that are still going. and they've all seen what's happened to Burning Sun, and they're all learning from it. So yeah, so shit's still going to be bad. Not much is going to change, and yeah, your oppa probably did do that, or if you didn't, even know someone who did. So yes, so a lot of what I'm doing is really by highlighting the objectification that goes on. It's like a cautionary tale, right? So, and I understand that some people might get that and some people don't, but by putting that word in there, it's deliberately, I call it the objectification survey because that's what it is. We're looking at the results of people objectifying idols. Um, you know, that's literally what it is. So, um, and to deny that, that is going on is to not be honest. And I really want to be honest with people, especially because there is a lot of young people out there who are into this shit. And I don't want them to think that it's all fucking sunshine and rainbows because it's not. It's a lot of fucked up shit goes on. Like, yeah, with Dao Shabay Subin is a good example. But there's plenty of other examples. There's so many people who have been burned by the industry or have had bad stuff happen to them. And people should know about it. And that's not to say that you can't still enjoy the music or enjoy a group or whatever, but just be honest about what you're consuming, you know. So that's where that all is. That's where it's all going. Hopefully that's clear, but it probably isn't. So I'll probably write a blog about it at some point. The trick is how to make. What I'm trying to work out is how to write about that shit without making it just sound like a boring lecture, like the boring lecture that I just submitted you to right just now, right? So, because the thing, whenever I write stuff, I always want to try and add some humor in there. I don't ever want to write what's called a rant. That was one of the good things about writing for Anti-K-pop Fangirl when I used to write for them. Is he would basically ban rants. If someone did a rant, he would just say, "Look, this isn't good enough to be an article. Just write something else." Regardless of what the rant was about, even if he agreed with it. Um, so I don't want to just write a rant. Yeah, I want to write something that's where, so if you don't know this stuff, then it's a bit eye-opening, but if you do know this stuff, it's not just a bunch of Captain Obvious boring shit, where it's actually it's something that you can have a bit of a chuckle at or whatever. So, and that's partly why I approach things in the way I do, by dropping in things like that, right? um, so it's giving a nod to the issues that are underlying it, but without just making it boring. No one wants to read, a 30-minute essay on how objectification is bad or whatever. It's boring. It's boring to read that. Um, so, and I think part of the reason why people connect with the writing I do is because I do try and, um, bring it across in a different way. And yeah, after so many punts, I'm only just now getting to understand some of the things you're saying in the post. So yeah, it isn't usually clear, at least for me. Um, Look, I think that's a good thing, and I think if that's happening, then I think A, that's really good, and I think B, the posts are working exactly the way they should, right? Because um, I'm not really overly interested in telling people what to think. It's not like Asian Junkie where he basically writes an article and then says, "Here's what I think, and if you don't agree, you're wrong." I mean, I like Asian Junkie and stuff, but he does write like that. Let's be honest. Whereas I'd rather just sort of outline it and let you do your own thinking. Um, and it's better to, if you've taken a while to sort of figure it out and come to your own conclusions. I think that's better than me just telling you what to think. I don't want to just tell everyone here's what you should think. Um, that's why I say with the song reviews, stop caring about my opinion. It's not important. you know, um, you're allowed to disagree with it, and if you've got different music tastes, well, then you should disagree with it. You're allowed to think that I'm wrong. That's fine. Um, So still, budding writer is good advice, but still finding my own voice. Yeah. Um, the way to find your own voice as a writer, I think, is to think about who you are and what it is that you uniquely um, can bring to the writing. Right. Um, I mean, I write differently to most people who write in K-pop, and it's partly because uh, sorry, I'm making you think about your homework, but because I am an older guy and I am someone who has been in the music industry for almost my whole life, adult life anyway, um, and who has had certain experiences with various cultural elements, right? So I'm also going to have a very different perspective to someone who's like 20 years old and is a uni student who likes K-pop or something like that. So, but if you are a 20-year-old uni student who likes K-pop, then you've got a perspective of your own um, that, you know, I mean, someone wrote to me a while ago saying, I live in Korea and I want to write, but all I can think about is writing like you. How can I write like myself? And I said, dude, you're in Korea. You could just fucking walk out your door and go down the road and write about what you see and make blogs out of that if you want to write about K-pop. You know, imagine the shit I could write about if I was in Korea and there were literally K-pop shows happening every week in my town. It'd be blog would pretty much write itself. Um, but yeah, anyway. But yeah, I don't like to make everything completely obvious, and it's not because I'm trying to be all esoteric and shit. It's just because you know it's good to get people in the habit of doing a bit of thinking of their own. You know, and putting it together for themselves, because those are the skills that are going to save your ass if you do audition for a K-pop company, you do go over to Korea, right? Um, being able to sort of take things apart mentally and being a bit sort of savvy and streetwise is a skill that's highly underrated. Um, so and yeah, whether you get my writing or not will depend a lot on a lot of things like your culture, your age. Some people just immediately understand, and some people just never get it, and some people and there's a lot of people kind of in the middle of that spectrum who, when they first see it, they're like, and then after a while, they sort of, oh, okay, this isn't actually what I thought it was. And all that's fine. If it means that I'm hated by a bunch of people because they don't get it, that's fine. I mean, it would be easy for me to do what every fucking person does and just write rants about how disgusted I am about various horrible things that happen. Sorry, there's a flying critter and it's pissing me off. I'm trying to kill it, but I'm failing miserably. Um, it would be easy for me to do that, but A, who would read it, and B, who would read it? I mean, it's just boring. Um, and I have a lot of readers. It's like more than I ever thought I would ever get. I'm constantly surprised by the way the blog keeps expanding and stuff like that. Its readership. But I think part of the reason why is because this is pretty much the only blog that doesn't talk down to you. People call me condescending all the time, but actually my blog's the complete opposite because I will, to a large extent, let readers form their own conclusions. I will, to a large extent, not just parrot information in front of their face. Um, and, and I will go places where other blogs won't. And, you know, everything else is just, you know, it's either probably the closest thing to my blog is probably Asian Junkie, which honestly is a good site. For all its faults, it's a good site. Um, and while we're talking about Asian Junkie, it's just going to take the time out for some sponsored messages. Here's a sponsored link. um, anyway, so pretty much every other site is just, basic sort of news, and the news stuff is just press releases which have just been copied and pasted from the Korean companies. It's just the stuff that the companies want them to write. It's nothing else, or it's just fan content, or it's anti-fan content, which is just stupid, really. Um, so anyway, there you go. Enough about that. But hopefully that clarifies for you a bit about some of that stuff and how I feel about it. And hopefully the person who wrote that question um, in the Luna subreddit is watching, although they're probably not. Oh man, I certainly wouldn't expect them to be. But can only hope. But yeah, but they might still hate me and they might ban me off the Luna subreddit, or a whole bunch of people probably think I'm a pedophile or whatever, which is total bullshit. But but I don't really care what people think. I know that I'm on very firm moral ground, and so because of that, I'm not bothered at all by other people's opinions that might be misinformed. So there you go, and I'm always happy to address it too. You know. Anyway, that's enough of that.